So the Odyssey, I finally saw this movie and it was great. By the way, they gave us giant ass IMAX posters for this movie, and I went to the first 2 o'clock showing in an IMAX, which was great. Now I will say, if you're a Christopher Nolan fan, you might want to subscribe to the channel because I did review every single Christopher Nolan movie. Uh, all of them are up on the channel. The only one that's not recent is my review of Oppenheimer. So, but most of them I did earlier this year, and excitement for this movie because I was very excited about this movie because one, the Odyssey is a classic story that was kind of due for like a modern telling, and also as much as I'm not a fan of Christopher Nolan in the way that some people are, I still am a fan of Christopher Nolan, and every time I hear about Christopher Nolan like doing something like Oppenheimer or this, where he's assembling this giant cast, I'm just like, let me go see this. Um, and this one caught my eye a little bit more because I like fantasy stuff. I like big epics, right? I'm not, and so this was kind of my like, yes, please, let's see what this is. So I was super excited to watch this, and I actually went to the IMAX, and I point that out because I actually only seen one Christopher Nolan movie in IMAX, which was Interstellar, and I watched it on re-release, not when it first came out. So that was pretty cool to actually be there with a sold out crowd for the IMAX. Now I will say it was crazy how sold out this theater was, because not that I didn't expect that, but honestly, I've been going to the IMAX uh, more regularly if I can make it, just because I work in a movie theater. Sometimes I'm just like, well, if it's free and I don't feel like it's necessary to see in the IMAX, I don't worry about going to IMAX. But if my theaters that I work at's not playing it, or it's a movie that I feel like this, even if we were playing I need to see in the IMAX, right? I've been trying to go. And but in all those times of going, I'll go to showings that have a decent number of people. There'll be some seats full, other seats not. This is the one time where I went and it was like legit, like sold out. It was literally every seat in the front rows were sold out too. And the thing is, if you don't know how bad sitting in the front row is, I went to go see the Batman in IMAX. Okay, that's a 3-hour movie. My eyes burnt for a week by sitting in the front row. And I didn't like sit in the front row. I sat in like the handicap row towards the front, but you get my point. Um, Luckily, I learned that my IMAX theater actually has an elevator where you can sit upstairs in the very back next to the speaker, which is really cool. So it's great if you're a fan of, uh, if you're handicapped and have that kind of accessibility in IMAX. Because honestly, all IMAX need seats like handicap seats like that, because IMAX is a massive screen. Making me sit at the bottom because I'm handicapped is actually just very painful. In fact, it should be illegal to sell front row IMAX seats like that low to the screen because of how big IMAX screens are. Just saying. Anyway, that was my little ramble. Now we can get into the movie. I loved this movie, and I was very shocked that I loved this because, like I said, I don't really like Christopher Nolan like a lot of people. It's not that I don't like him, but I feel like I've seen all of his movies, right? Some of them I watched for the first time this year. Others I watched before and didn't really get them, and then I kind of over time grew to really like them. I think Christopher Nolan's a director I like more and more as time goes on, because I feel like his movies stick with me, and when I do finally go rewatch them, they do get better for me each time I view them. But there's certain things that I just don't like that he does. I don't really like that he doesn't do ADR or things like that bother me personally. But this movie, like, maybe it was just seen it on an IMAX, but you also feel that this is like the moment where everything came together, and he's been making the movie that maybe might be his peak. I don't know if it's my favorite of his films, but it might be. I think The Prestige is probably still my favorite. I do really like Insomnia as well. I mean, yeah, Robin Williams and Christopher Nolan movie. I mean, I don't know. But you watch this movie and the cinematography is so gorgeous. And what I love about this movie is it feels like old school Hollywood epics like Ben-Hur or The Ten Commandments, movies that, you know, I mean, they're great movies, but they're not my favorite type of movies, right? But you could see how like this is Christopher Nolan taking that old school type of filmmaking, bringing it back but advancing it, where he shot the entire thing in IMAX, which had never been done before. He had pushed all this stuff within the movie really well to make a very unique experience. And as much as people, and as much as it gets talked about, like the cast of this movie, both because there's a lot of transphobic, racist bigots, I think it's funny because a lot of the people in this movie actually don't have that much screen time. Like Tom Holland is in this movie a decent portion. Matt Damon obviously has the most. You get a decent amount with Anne Hathaway, and you get a decent amount with Rob Pattinson. But like Lupita Nyong'o, not even in it for like 10 minutes. Elliot Page, not even in it for like 10 minutes. Like some of those people. And I don't know. I will say the score to this movie and the sound design is incredible. I mean, of course you expect that with the Christopher Nolan movie. Always great stuff. Right. I really love the scene where they take down the Cyclops in this movie. Just the sound that Cyclops makes when it's in pain is like, seeing that in IMAX with that sound design is holy shit. Like, that's a magical moment of just great sound design that just, you feel the pain. And I actually felt my ears kind of bleeding a little bit in pain watching that sequence. So many great emotions are carried throughout this movie as well. I think the themes of this movie about brotherhood of men, family, redemption, all these different things that play out in this movie. I just thought this movie was so well realized and such a strong, unique experience that, I mean, I honestly kind of want to go see it again. Don't know if I will see it again in the theater, but this might be like an Oppenheimer. Like, yeah, day one, I'll probably pick this up on 4K Blu-ray. Honestly, probably will pick this up day one, because if you remember Oppenheimer coming out in 4K, man, that was one like everybody wanted, and it was hard as fuck to find for a little bit, and then it finally came back in stock. So, I don't know. I love this movie. Let me know your thoughts. Like, share, and subscribe.